If you ever felt like it's impossible to communicate with your partner, then this episode of the Soft Life Experiment is for you. Hi, Mama. My name is Anya, and welcome to the Soft Life Experiment Episode 2. I'm proving that for 52 straight weeks, I can live a fuller, more abundant life by choosing softness over productivity. Each week, I am aligning with the values that I want and the values that I want for my life, so there is less stress and more ease. Let's get into it. This week I chose communication as the second value for relationships because I know that communication is a thing that couples always struggle with. Like when you hear about why is my relationship not working, it's communication and finances, right? In fact, over 65% of couples cite that they have poor communication or lack communication skills. Isn't that crazy? That's why I really wanted to use communication as the second value, especially after following last week's episode where I was going through vulnerability in relationships. It was really scary. It was really vulnerable. It was really raw. Anyway, I wanted to really capitalize on the momentum and dive deeper into the communication in my relationship so that we can get closer and closer together. If you haven't already, go ahead and watch the first episode of Soft Life Experiment where I talk about vulnerability in relationships, okay? I'm going to talk about how true connection actually starts when you're willing to reveal all parts of yourself, no matter how scary they are. But I'll link that video in the description box below, or you can go ahead and find it on the playlist that I created for the Soft Life Experiment series. Okay, so here's the problem. We have very different communication styles. I mean, we are polar opposites in almost everything, especially in the way that we speak. Me, I'm loud, I want to talk a lot, I want to express all my feelings, I just want to communicate all the time. And he's quiet and he doesn't say much, and he's like, yeah, I'll listen to you, I'm going to hold space, but I don't really have much to add to the conversation. And it frustrates me. Oh my God, it frustrates me so bad. And it's like, how do you communicate with someone when they're your complete opposite? It's not right, wrong, good, or bad. It's just like, what do you do? How do you talk to someone who doesn't want to talk back? And vice versa. Like when you don't have a lot to say and someone's always talking, how do you communicate with that person? It's really frustrating. And sometimes I really feel like what I'm saying is not landing with him because I don't get the same expressive tones and the same facial expressions that I'm giving him. Like all of the space that I'm giving, I don't get that back. He's really good at keeping one monotone poker face, and it's almost scary. I'm like, okay, how do I navigate that? It's not just me, it's he's feeling like he's not being seen, he's not being heard. And when he does speak, I'm so used to talking, I kind of bulldoze over him, and then I kind of just get my point across because I'm used to talking. And so it's like, okay, now I gotta pass the ball. I gotta learn how to share. I gotta learn how to communicate better and not just only get out my thoughts. But I do believe that one of the reasons we were having so many issues with communication is because we weren't really willing to be vulnerable with each other. And that's why last week was so important in setting the foundation for us to even have the conversations, to even be able to communicate. And so given our history of communication, or the lack thereof, I really wanted to try something different this week. And I wanted to be able to have the conversations that we needed to have, but in a way that made us both feel good. And so that was kind of the challenge. So I had to really get creative and think of ways that I could express myself and communicate with him that didn't require hour-long conversations and me feeling like I'm talking at the wall and him feeling like he's being talked at and all the things in between. That was where we had to get really creative. So for example, I started leaving voice notes, and he actually inspired me to do this because he's done it for me before, or he's left me really cute messages, and he's even recorded a message of him saying sweet things to me to wake up to. So every morning on my alarm, I have this very, very sweet message that he's left for me. It's saying, hey baby, good morning. I can't wait for you to start your day. Just give me a kiss when you're ready to get up. And it's so cute. I'm not gonna tell you all details, but it's really, really cute. So he inspired me to start leaving voice notes because sometimes I don't feel like sharing everything in the moment, or if I don't want to have a hard conversation, I could just send him something cute, or just send him hey, this is what I'm gonna talk about later, or this is the main point, and let him respond. And so it kind of takes the pressure off from having that face-to-face discussion when you kind of feel like that's where the tension starts. We also wrote letters, and I got kind of in my Bridgerton era. I was like, my dearest Cameron, don't judge me. I see the judge. Don't judge me, okay? Don't judge me. I was like, let me get in my fullest feminine extra feminine bodied form, like all of that. Like, I wanted all the feminine energy. Let me get into all of that. And let me just write this letter. I even wrote it in cursive because I wanted to share some things with him that wasn't just like bad. Like, I didn't want to talk about all the bad stuff. I feel like a lot of conversations that we have in relationships, we're always bringing up the stuff that makes us feel uncomfortable or the things that we need to improve on and trying to fix the relationship. And sometimes you don't want to fix the relationship. Like, I really wanted to leave him things that made him feel like, oh, I'm doing a good job. And yes, there's things we got to work on because no relationship is perfect, no person is perfect. But communication is more than just the bad stuff, right? So again, my dearest Cameron, and I just started giving him all the gratitude, all the praise, all things that I really did appreciate. And it also got me in the mindset of, hey, things aren't always that bad. Hey, we actually have really good times. And I have a really amazing partner. And it just kind of boosted his morale and his ego, made him feel good. And it gave me a reminder of what I love about him. So that was really, really awesome. Okay, the second thing that we did outside of trying different forms of communication was actually talking when we're both at ease. So in the past, we made the mistake of talking to each other after a really long day and we're like in bed and it's like, oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you about this that happened this morning. It's like, oh, why didn't we talk about that this morning? That was like 8 hours ago. Or we would do it when there's a lot of distractions, and having kids is such a blessing and they're so amazing, but god darn, they're so like everywhere all the time. When you're trying to have a conversation, try to do anything important, it's like, can you go somewhere, please? Can you just go somewhere and sit down for a hot second? But anyway, I digress. So instead of us doing it, we had distractions around, the baby was running around, and we were just feeling really stressed. We tried to only have conversations when we felt like we were both at ease, when we were relaxed, when we were in our best state. We like to talk at dinner time now. That's really been helping us. And just coming from a place of, I want to talk to you and I have the space and availability to do so and I have the capacity to do so, versus this is just another thing on my to-do list, so let's run through it, and you're already like dreading the conversation. So finding times and when you and your partner can both be present is so, so important, and it's so, so helpful. I'm telling you, being in a good mood changes everything. And then finally, another really good tip we did was we emphasized each other's love languages. So if you haven't read the 5 love languages, I definitely recommend doing that. It provides great, great insight into your relationship and who you are as a person, and then how you two interact. My other favorite book is His Needs, Her Needs, which is like the 5 love languages, but goes into it deeper, and it uses different language and it gives you more actionable tools. But anyway, I digress. If you can't tell, I read a lot of books, so join my book club if you want to come talk to me about books. I'll leave a link in the description box below about that too. Conscious Queendom Book Club for the Conscious Queens. Okay, so the 5 love languages are the different ways that we show and receive love, like our main forms of communication. And so for me, acts of service is how you tell me you love me. Like doing things for me, cooking, cleaning up. Well, he doesn't really cook, but cleaning up, taking a baby without asking me, getting me some flowers just because you know they'll brighten my day. Things like that. Doing things for me is how I communicate it and how I want to receive love. Okay, and that's what I'll do for you. Like if I'm that type of person that'll go out and go shopping because you said you're having a rough day and you don't really have the energy to, or I'm that type of person that will like organize your sock drawer because it was just chaotic and I was like, let me get in there and like make something pretty today, like weird stuff like that. Like I'll just go and do it. and yeah, so mine is acts of service. I'm a giver. I'll give through action. For him, his love language is physical touch. Now, I am not the most expressive when it comes to physically touching people. Like we have to be really, really close. And not that me and him are not. It's just that I'm just not so touchy-feely. Like I'm a very like, I won't even say guarded. Like I'm just very to myself. I've always been that way. I'm like the person in the corner who wants to read a good book. Again, book club. Makes sense. I want to read a good book. I want to study in a quiet. Like I'm just very closed off sometimes. And for him, he's like looking for that affirmation of communication and love through touching. So I had to become very aware and evolve throughout our relationship to learn that, okay, holding his hand means a lot more to him than it may mean for me. And vice versa. For him, washing dishes may not be that big of a deal. But for me, it's a big deal. And so to do that communicates something really, really special to the other person, and learning how to give and take in each other's love languages really helps set a foundation to make it easier to have conversations, in my opinion. Because I feel like you're already showing that you love each other, you're already showing up for each other. So when you are ready to sit down and have a conversation, that question of, oh, do you love me? Oh, do you really care about me? Is already being met. And it's just like, okay, now how do we actually just communicate clearly in a way that makes us feel good, whatever it is that we need to say in that moment. And so for this week, we were very, very intentional about emphasizing our love languages. And for me, I tried to hold his hand more when we were driving in the car. I would give him a hug from behind if he was like washing dishes, or I would surprise him with a hug, make sure I kissed him every time he left the house and when he came back in. And if I'm walking past him, maybe I like rub my fingers across his back, just kind of walk away type of thing. Really cute, just kind of flirty, keeping it simple and cute, stuff like that. And it just boosted him up so much. And he told me, like, I really like when you do that. I really love when you touch my neck. I really love when you rub my head and my head is resting on your lap. Like, little things really made the difference. And then for me, he got really, really intentional about taking the baby early in the morning so that I could study, because I'm back in school, finance, full time again, doing finance. So he was really intentional about helping me out with more study time and helping me with the laundry, so I didn't have to run in between loads. It would come out and empty out the dryer. Little things like that really made my day and communicated that he loved me. The support that I was being shown through acts of service was really, really making me feel good and feel supported in this busy season that we're in. Okay, so here's what I learned after a full week of communicating differently than we normally do. I always thought that communicating was about what I said. But what I'm learning, and what I've learned from this week, is that what you don't say is even more powerful, okay? Men especially are really, really visual people, and like they need to see things, they need to see what you're communicating. Like women, we can just talk all day long and have no problems and be happy to do it, okay? We will give you the A to Z and every single point in between and let you know the full rundown of a story. Men will be like, give me the highlights, give me the cliff notes. Show me some pictures and I'm good. But they need that visual aspect in order to connect to something, like to connect what's going on in their head to what they're seeing. I don't know, I'm not a man, I can't tell you, but he's even told me like we're visual, so that helps. And so again, like what you're not saying but what you're doing is so valuable to a man. And when you're talking about communicating. And then I also learned that the timing definitely mattered, okay? There is a difference between choosing to communicate during a time of stress and choosing to communicate during a time of ease. That sometimes we don't have the luxury to choose, and sometimes you need to have a tough conversation right there in a moment. But when you can choose, always choose the easier option. Just, you'll thank me later. Like, just choose the easier option, okay? For example, for my relationship, any kind of late night discussion, I don't care what we were talking about, almost always turned into an argument. Like if we were in bed, we should not have been talking, but we were. And it would always turn into an hour-long argument about whatever it is we were talking about. Even if we were intending to, or even if our best intentions were just to have an easy, breezy conversation, it never turned out that way. We just didn't have the capacity to hold anything else. We didn't have the capacity to share, or to give, or to communicate and receive in a way that was easy. So we kind of just kept triggering and re-triggering each other unnecessarily. And it sucked. So now we choose to plan them out as often as we can. This is good or bad discussions. Like if we can say, hey, I need to have a conversation about our money. Let's talk about the finances. Can we do that today at 6 o'clock? That's good for you. That's good for me. Let's go put it on the calendar. We don't got to worry about it. Now we know to be in a good state of mind at 6 o'clock to have that conversation. Good or bad, we plan it out now. Now we're very intentional about removing the distractions that get in our way and really take away our focus from each other. Because I think that's another big point. A lot of couples will try to have a conversation. One person will be talking, the other person will be like on their phone or they're looking at TV. And personally, I think that's so rude. Like, I hate that. It's like if I'm talking to you and I'm looking at you in your eyes, I want you to look at me back, okay? Is that just me? Like, is that just me? Let me know in the comments below. Like, what are your biggest triggers when having a conversation? Because for me, not looking at me is a problem. So please let me know your biggest triggers in the comments, okay? I want to hear about it. But yeah, like I had to let him know that that was a really big problem for me, not looking at me. And even though he was listening and he didn't think that it was a problem because he was hearing me, he could repeat back everything I said. I found it distracting to watch him do something else. And I just felt like it was rude. And so when I brought that to his attention, then he was very, very intentional about meeting me where I needed to be and looking at me when we have conversations. And it just made me feel really loved in that moment. And we were able to communicate a little better because I wasn't already angry at him. And if you're a parent, I know finding time without the kids can be challenging because it really was challenging for us. Like we had to again get really, really creative because this is important. We had to decide that this was necessary for us to improve on. Like if you don't have good communication, you really don't have a lot in a relationship, okay? I'm sorry, you just don't. It's like communication, trust, finances, sex, those are the big things. And if those things ain't going right in your relationship, you having a hard relationship, something ain't working, you gotta figure it out. So if we can get the communication together, we can get a lot of other things together too. At least that's what I think. Anyway, we're gonna prove it this year. But yes, get creative on what you can do. So for example, we would have conversations in a car if we needed to. We wait till the baby was put to bed. You can go for a walk even. Like if you're going to the park with your family, let the kid run around for a little bit, have a conversation. Watch the kid out the corner of your eye and have a conversation with your partner. Like you can do that. Or if you even need to, and if it's necessary, go ahead and hire a babysitter. Like if it's a really tough conversation, you feel like it's going to be a couple hours, find some help. Like don't let that be the reason that stops you. You're going to have a kid for a very long time. So you're always going to be getting around. That's not going to change. But what can change is your perspective on it and how you actually view the importance of having a conversation. One of my best mom qualities and one of my biggest faults of our relationship is that I will always put my daughter first. And as mom, that's what you're supposed to do. Mom 101, put your kids first. But in a relationship, what does the Bible say? It's your man first and everyone else second. And so that's where I struggle. And I had to let him know, hey, like, yes, she is important. If she's safe and she's good and she's fed and she's changing all the things in that moment, then yes, I should be able to have a conversation with you. And I should make you a priority just as much as I make her one. And by taking the time to prioritize your relationship, the other person will feel so much better and you'll feel better and you'll feel more inspired to even have conversations, to communicate more because you know that it is now a priority for you. And you can just check in with your partner. Like it's not all on you to do this. Check in with your partner and figure out when are their best times to actually communicate. Like if you're a morning person and they're not, maybe starting a conversation at 6 a.m. is not the best idea. But if they're like, hey, lunch breaks are cool, and you're like, cool, I eat lunch, let me go sit down with you and talk. That might work for you. Whatever works, but have that conversation. That's a conversation you can have right now. I'm challenging everyone who watches this video to go have a conversation with your partner and ask them, when is a good time for us to talk? When is a good time for us to communicate? Because we want to communicate. We want to have this time. I want to be close to you. I want to have a better connection. So what works for you, what works for me? I bet you have a good result. I bet you. Let me know in the comments how that goes. Okay, I want to know. I'm nosy, so I want to know. Going forward, I would like to continue this momentum of having positive communication because I feel like we are coming so far in such a short time. Like it's only been 2 weeks. It's insane. And I just want to continue to remember that communication is way more than just talking face to face and just having face to face verbal conversations. The nonverbal communication matters just as much as the verbal, and that's like my biggest takeaway from this week. Being creative with your partner, finding ways that you guys can communicate, leaving love notes, talking to each other. You can create a playlist that tells you exactly how you're feeling in a moment. You can create a playlist that shares how you're feeling. Anything that really sparks you guys' interest, that you have a shared interest in, like go for it. Just try it and see what works, but have that conversation with your partner. Like see what they're open to, see what they like, see what they'd be interested in trying out with you. And remember that communication breakdowns occur over time. Like this doesn't just happen in one day in your relationship's like it's all effed up. Like no, it's like, oh, after one fight and you're just all messed up. No, like this happens over time. It's many, many, many instances and many, many situations in which you weren't communicating, that your communication was breaking down, that you didn't feel seen, you didn't feel heard, and now you finally get at a breaking point. We don't want to get to that point. Continue to check in with your partner over time. Continue to ask them how they're doing on a regular basis. So that way, if something does feel like it's coming up or there's a problem, you can address it head on and not wait until you're seeing big old cracks in your foundation. When you see a little teeny fracture, tackle it then. Ask, be proactive. Like your relationship is a priority, make it one. So next week, I'm exploring boundaries with my man. And I think it's gonna be really interesting to see how we can communicate our needs and our wants with each other without triggering each other. And that's gonna be key. So you're gonna wanna stay tuned for that one, okay? Here's my best mom advice, okay? For a relationship to thrive, I believe that we should be communicating even when we feel like we have nothing to say. Make the other person feel good. Make them feel loved by touching them, leaving them notes, leaving them love letters. Like anything that makes the other person feel good and feel loved in the moment, you should be trying to do anyway. You should be trying to communicate with them, regardless of the external situations. I think that keeping a relationship alive is more about being intentional in the little moment and learning how to express yourself clearly in the big ones. What is one way that you can communicate to your partner that you love them without saying those words? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and like it so that I know. And if you want to see more of my content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's just a free way to support the channel so that I can continue to make more free content like this for more mamas like you. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.